back, everybody. We are here with the second game of Peace up against the Red Canids, and already we are dropping hot into this pick and ban. As you can see, the bans and the picks. Why don't you walk us through it, Wolf?
Well, I mean, you could see that there's already a pretty big parallel between what we saw in the previous game and the second one here. Is we will see Titan once again on the Ezreal. GUIGO is going to be on that Kennen. The big difference being that the Leona was picked up early this time for Peace instead of the Nami, so they deny the pick as well as are going to pick it up themselves. And you see a lot of power that's going to be in this bot duo will be transferred towards kind of those later game engages. Yes, you can still obviously take 2v2s. We don't know the support partner that Titan is going to be playing with just yet. Taking a look at some of the bans across the board that we're looking at here. See the Camille was taken away from GUIGO. See those same bans we saw last game in the Misfortune. The Aurelia, Nocturne, and the Tryndamere removed once again as Pyke being considered. Love to see it, but don't think it's going to make it through this draft. Not in this meta.
Yeah, Rakan seems likely with what they already have. Tons of mobility, huge engage potential to set up the Kennen. And it is going to be the choice. I mean, we already saw a lot of supports actually taken off the board as well. The Braum and the Yuumi, as well as the Leona takeaway from the side of Peace. So now Peace, they have to decide on what is going to be their solo lanes here. They do know that the Kennen is coming in here. Do they want to run back the Rumble? Were they happy with that? And, you know, even in the first game, they did go for the blind pick Sylas, and that is going to be the choice here once again for Tally.
Yeah. Obviously, the Kled is still available. They wanted to go down that counter path once again. So a big question here. Did end up working out for Grevthar at the end of the day as, hey, that's something different. Looks like we're going to have the solo lane here with the Jarvan because it is still a flex pick. It's kind of a bit of a running joke here. It could be flexed in all four roles, but we finally get to see Babip's Nidalee, which was target banned against him in the beginning of the group stage, and it's something he hasn't been allowed to play outside of that previous game we just watched. Didn't pick it up then, but he will take it to the Rift here in Game 2. Now we're trying to see what that final pick is going to be, that counter pick here for the Sylas. And once again, it's going to be the Kled instantly locked in. So we've got a very similar game on our hands here. The difference being the supports, of course, and the swap there of the Jarvan into the top lane. But there's a lot of power in this Nidalee, something that was missing in the previous set. Yes, you could burn a lot of those health bars away with those equalizers, but Nidalee gives you that consistent poke. It's not an ultimate ability, that spear. It's going to be available non-stop to threaten and chunk down what is overall not a very tanky roster here on the side of Red Canids.
Yeah, and Peace might want to recreate what they were able to create in game number 1 with some of that early lead going on here. This time not with the Jarvan, which honestly wasn't a lot of the engine of what got them going in that one. But the Nidalee can absolutely do it. You got a couple of solo lanes that can be gankable. The Jarvan and the Sylas, of course. The Kled's going to be getting in there a lot. And this Nidalee can be super active. It's Babip. You know, I think this is his big opportunity to step up and try to carry on one of his big picks. Again, though, on the other side, we are looking at an extremely similar draft from the side of Red Canids. This time, though, they just have Rakan instead of Leona, so you have even more hard engage, especially in team fights, and everything else is the same.
Yeah. The Rakan is going to struggle a lot in terms of being able to engage into the Leona, especially in the early part of that laning phase with an Ezreal that's still fairly fragile at that stage, but we made the same sort of claims about Titan's early game when he was against the Lucian Nami lane, and he ended up trading a lot of those kills back, getting a lot of gold in his pocket early, and obviously the rest was history. We'll see what happens here in this second game as Jojo has a lot of agency on this Rakan to set up flanks, and when you have to deal with both the potential of a Rakan flank as well as Lee Sin, who could maybe kick somebody and get a pick, then you have to deal with GUIGO's ability to slicing Maelstrom in, and Grevthar's long-range engage on the Kled. It's very strong.
Absolutely. So, guys, hashtag Verizon 5G all chat. Just go out there, get on Twitter, do the hashtag, and let us know what you're thinking about this series, about today, about anything that we have here at Worlds. Any opinions or cheers or well wishes that you do want to throw out to any of the people involved is always welcome. Make sure to hashtag Verizon 5G all chat, and we will get your tweet up in the broadcast. So always a fun little thing that we do have going on as we are getting into this game. Trying to see what else we can see here. Once again, it's no flash from the side of this Kled mid, just looking to get ultra aggressive with that Ignite. And it worked out for him in game 1.
Yeah, very powerful duelist, you know, and if you end up getting in one of those scenarios where Tally falls far behind or ends up trying to take a bad trade and gets picked, it's one of the ways that this roaming Kled can become such a great threat. We didn't really see it happen last game, but as I was mentioning just moments ago, there's a lot of tools for Red Canids, as we saw in the last game, to fight room, you know, constantly throughout the map and then control that vision, because that's something that we talked a lot about in the first game, but their consistent control of vision made it so difficult for Peace to actually get back into the game around those objectives. And when you have to go into choke points dealing with that Kennen ultimate, it's often just a disaster, not a fight you want to take. But sometimes you just don't have the option to not take it, right, when you're that far behind in the later stages.
Curious to see how this top lane is going to go. I think it's going to be the biggest difference outside of the jungle pick here for Babip, right? We saw that the Rumble had a very comfortable early game against this Kennen and even got some help from the team as well. So I want to see how Vizicsacsi will do on the Jarvan into Kennen matchup. Looks like so far things are going pretty well, you know, but it's still early on in this game. And, you know, generally the melee into range is not always the best, especially against a champion like Kennen, but we'll have to see if he can get some hard engages going down there up in the top lane and really put the pressure onto GUIGO.
I'm curious to see what Babip is going to build, because we have been seeing a new trend recently of Rocket Belt being built instead of the Night Harvester on Nidalee these days. It's kind of a new up-and-coming solo queue thing. Haven't yet seen how the pros are going to build that here in Worlds 2021, so something to track for sure as we have an engage.
Getting in there is Aladoric, but immediately trying to run away. But now they're trying to get on in there. The exhaust will come out, but Titan is going to flash away, get some room to get away from this. We also got a fight in the jungle that's going on, and a re-engage in the bottom lane. Aladoric's getting so low, but Violet has the upper hand on the enemy AD carry. Now going to the jungle, we finally see that he just went a little bit too far in the enemy jungle, and Peace were able to collapse onto him.
Looks like Tally comes over, gives Babip the assist, is going to be able to help take him out, take out Aegis, that is to say. So, I mean, there's 2 kills here going over the side of Peace to just the one on red, and this time around, once again, Titan isn't going to pick up the kill, is only going to get the assist here on the Ezreal, so not going to pick up that first blood. That's going to go over to Jojo. So a lot here in terms of this early game, shaping up to be a similar, yet significantly different, as we do see once again an aggressive game. Aladoric with a roam is unseen, did sweep this brush. Grevthar respects the fact that he doesn't know where the enemy Leona is.
Yeah, he's got Babip here as well. Just going to take down the Scuttle Crab. Not really without any hitches here. Aladoric can just return back down to the bottom side. So, yes, very much the same, but also very different as you can see he was getting very aggressive. He lands that Q and he goes in for this.
Yeah, goes in. You can see that on the minimap that, yes, Grevthar is trying to contest this rotation coming up from Tally, but he's not able to do so, and Tally will be able to take the blast plant. And just barely saves Babip's life there, connects there with the chains. You can see how hyped he is about that kill. It's so important.
Yeah. Huge Nice comes in. Looks like he just isn't really bothered. You know, he knows it's still early on in this game. But still, that's a rough kill to give over to Tally, especially with how good he looked on the Sylas in game number 1, even though they didn't end up winning that one. As Babip was getting a little bit aggressive, this is something you can do after getting a nice little trade over the enemy jungle. As Vizicsacsi not going to know that Aegis is here, as he does get stunned up, and the flash still available, but so much damage being used already. Waits for that Q, the follow-up from the Lee Sin, and he will be able to flash to safety.
Does escape with his life here, but does have to use that flash. Will, of course, have to back. Doesn't have teleport either, so this is still a pretty significant exchange here on the top side of the map. All summoners down now for the top laners, but this does give GUIGO the opportunity to catch up with some of that farm. That is going to be a long walk back to the top lane. See if Tally decides to go in on this teleport, because it wouldn't be the first time we've seen that in this series. We'll just decide to back away. But I gotta say, you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same, right? We have a very slight lead here for Peace. And yet, you know, mid lane control going over to this Kled. Now, the question becomes, will we see more effective teleport usage out of GUIGO this game? Will we be able to get more slicing maelstrom pressure in the mid-game as Tally getting collapsed on?
Yeah, he's going to get roped up here as Aegis is looking for the Q, but this is level 6 Sylas, who is not exactly going to be too scared of you just yet. Just went back and bought and teleported back to lane, so you could see why they were trying to put on that pressure, but Tally with the Lost Chapter and a refillable, he will be just fine as now Red Cannon's trying to get aggressive. They know that Vizicsacsi does not have flash, and just a little bit of pressure on the map is all they need to get him to back off of a big wave on the top side.
They're really playing this nice tug-of-war game as well with Tally, just forcing him to bounce between the pressure there from Grevthar in mid, as well as that pressure that's coming on the top side. So just trying to make him lose waves. He's actually managed the waves really well regardless, and is going to be able to stabilize there in the mid of the map. Grevthar once again walks over a ward here. He's such an aggressive mid laner when he's on champions like this, where he has the lead in the matchup, has that pushing power, and those control wards are getting so much value once again here for Peace.
Yeah, definitely a good one placed down there, probably by Aladoric a little bit earlier on. And this bottom lane, once again, you have to say, I mean, even with the Lucian trying to get some early pressure, he got that early kill down there with a good trade as Babip is going to be spotted. Aladoric is not, but it might be enough to just say to Grevthar, okay, I have to get out of here. So the rotation is spotted. We'll see Aladoric this time as well. And Grevthar's totally fine even without the flash. Like, as long as he doesn't go super ham all the time and he plays respectfully, he will be okay on this Kled.
Yeah, should be, as GUIGO here. Still without summoners, of course. Now, we talked about this last game, and it was a really quite a point of contention for the early to mid game for Red Canids was the fact that they couldn't use the teleporting Kennen to their advantage around those first few objective fights, and that might hold true in this game once again. As okay, it was scary for a moment there.
Will be just fine as they do clean that up. I like that Vizicsacsi is looking for these opportunities, you know, just waiting in the brush that he knows he has vision control of. But take a look at this. Grevthar now over vision. Will be spotted. You know, this has been the story for his mid lane.
Yeah.
Just trying to be aggressive, but spotted every time. So in the early game, he's not really able to get as much done as he was in game number 1. As here we go, Vizicsacsi finds the flag and drag. Is it enough damage? The slicing maelstrom is trying to keep him alive, but it will not be enough. No summoners for either side. Will be advantage Jarvan if he gets the jump on that Kennen.
They're going to look for a play here in mid, but again, that vision you talked about makes it so difficult to catch anyone here on Peace. And that's going to be a Rift Herald start here for Babip. Without the presence of this Kennen, who obviously doesn't have his ultimate, even if he were gear, feel very comfortable right now about actually forcing your way into this part of the jungle because you have so much vision control. Look how deep the warding is. This is a far cry from what we saw in the previous set in terms of controlling the top side of the map. Much more power here to Peace, and Red just going to look for a little bit of a skirmish. Positional advantage, though, definitely going to Peace as GUIGO finally gets back to the lane, but he's going to deal with that wave. He can't come down here.
They're still going in. Okay, the charge is going to just charge him to safety away from the enemy, as, of course, he cannot be disabled during that one, so no solar flare value out of that.
And once again, I mean, it feels like deja vu, just like last game. This time, Titan is able to get a plate, but they decide, okay, we're going to pressure around the Rift Herald, not fully commit. GUIGO returns to lane, grabs that farm, grab a turret plate for Titan, might actually grab 2 here. He's getting very close to it. And this is a little bit more value for Red Canids this time around with that give up on the Rift Herald.
Yeah, like it does feel good for Titan here. The Rift Herald is going to be used in the top side, and they should be able to get first turret blood, so they're kind of trading sides. And you have to ask the question, you know, do you feel comfortable giving all this gold over to Babip and Violet, and at the same time kind of getting Titan fed? I suppose it's not really in Red Canids' control, as it's kind of Peace that are dictating the flow of this one after they do pick up the Rift Herald. But still, I mean, this is another fed Ezreal. It's not 2 kills this time, but it's a lot of plates and value here for Titan. Still going to be good on the scoreboard for the side of Peace, of course, after getting that big objective and pushing into the top side. I just want to see what Violet can do this time around on the carry.
Exactly. It's going to be very different than the last time, as you mentioned, with Titan not having the same amount of kills. And we're still at a stage where the Lucian isn't quite online yet, but he is going to be very powerful very soon. Just picked up his Gale Force, and that's going to be a really huge opportunity for him to have a lot more mobility, look for these fights around the objectives. Unfortunately, you know, this last objective that was just taken here for Red Canids was taken without a hitch because there was such a commitment to the top side of the map for Peace rather than splitting. And that means that, you know, you get a lot of plates for free. You also get a Drake. So in terms of losing Rift Heralds, this is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, that is definitely true. As you see them rotating now down towards the bottom side once again here. Red Canids, if possible, trying to get some value.
Vision.
And Violet goes right in. No Q from the Lee Sin first, and no level 6 for Jojo rather is so important for making sure that Violet stays alive. But now we do have the dash forward and exhaust. This time he is going to have to flash over the wall as it is a manhunt that's coming in. But now they're getting it turned on top of them as in goes Aladoric. Going to get this one started. GUIGO does not get a lot of value here on the slicing Maelstrom, as we do have Vizicsacsi super deep in that one, trying to get on top of Aegis, and he will be able to pick up that kill. As now the team is following up. Tally and Violet able to help him out as GUIGO trying to escape, and we are all over the map now. Even Vizicsacsi is going to go down. Grevthar picks up the shutdown gold onto the Jarvan, who was able to build up that bounty. And Red, not too fussed about that one. They seem okay.
Yeah, they end up pulling it off, which was quite surprising considering the way the middle of that fight went. GUIGO finally is able to teleport into a fight and get a slicing Maelstrom off, but there's not enough follow-up damage there in that initial exchange. They really wanted more out of that because they saw an opportunity. They see Violet. They could maybe get the jump on him. He's got Gale Force, gets away, but despite his ability to escape there, they're still able to collapse and get a pick. I thought we were going to have action there in the mid lane again for a second. As, you know, for GUIGO here, once again, his ability to really turn these teleports into game-changing plays hasn't been there, but this time more successful than the last. But we do have to keep going back to the fact that this time Titan is playing kind of on a fair, even playing field. He's actually, in fact, about 600 gold behind Violet right now. This game is going to feel very different as a result. He isn't just going to be able to pop off in 5 minutes' time. We're going to have to wait and see that late-game Ezreal. It's going to be a much slower road towards that win condition.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Violet's turn to shine, essentially, picking up one of the first mythics in the game on that Gale Force. As Vizicsacsi now, he's got some very deep vision in the enemy jungle, as it seems like the enemy team now is collapsing on them. There is this blast plant here that might get him to safety as he knocks over the Lee Sin, and he leaves himself over the wall as Flag and Drag actually gets him some room here, but he will be eventually taken down as he has to avoid the charge, and he will just emote his way to the kill.
Emotes his way to the kill. The trade-off is that a lot of minions will be lost in the mid lane. Extra plate going over to Violet here, and they're actually going to turn this into potentially more than just a plate.
We got multiple teleports coming in. Big Rakan charm onto multiple, but there's so many members of Peace here, but Grevthar trying to run amok, trying to get that damage down, but it will not be enough. There's just no support for him. It's a double kill now for Violet, and Jojo is alone, gets knocked up with the flash. And that will be a huge conversion here for the side of Peace.
Yeah, this is starting to become such a lead. Coming back in this game for Red Canids is going to be a really, really tough challenge. And again, different from last game, there's so much more vision control here for the side of Peace. They're starting to get deep vision on both the bottom side, as you can see here, and a little bit there on the top side. So this is not going to be a game where Red Canids can actually just run around the map, start taking away those jungle camps, and then, you know, put the pressure on macro-wise, because you've lost a lot of structures already. 2 turrets are down. You've given this Lucian a huge lead, and in the mid game, he's going to excel with it, as, once again, looking for a fight.
Well, we're going to see the stun does come in. Tally a little bit all alone. His team does round the bend, but so much damage being taken right now from the Sylas. The slicing Maelstrom doesn't get much down now. It's Aladoric's turn to go in, and we are just trading blows. It's like we're watching a boxing match right now.
Yeah. A lot of extra pushing power going to Titan on the bottom side. He is free farming right now, so he's the really big winner of this exchange here in the middle of the map. The amount of power that you could have gotten from Peace there was quite high if they were able to get those picks. Unsuccessful nonetheless. You can see Red finally clearing up some of that lost vision here around the top side of the map. Finally starting to get a little bit more of a chokehold on their side of the jungle. But these lanes have now kind of gone a little bit blue-sided, I guess you could say. Peace-sided here is farming this out for the Ezreal on a map where you don't have vision control is one of the scariest things you could do, because yes, you have a lot of mobility as Ezreal, but he doesn't have a mythic. He's not going to be able to do it.
Oh, everything missing here. Peace doing a good job of controlling the vision around this objective, but It's going to be the Solar Flare now down. Tally has good position on this bottom lane, but we'll see how Red can play around the Solar Flare being down. The Rift Herald was trying to be taken here by Vizicsacsi for quite a while. And one thing I want to turn your attention to is that GUIGO is up 2 levels on him so far, even though the CS is not that big of a difference, and Jarvan even has 2 kills. So GUIGO's been doing a much better job of just soaking experience around the map. That's something that Vizicsacsi will have to be careful about. He picks up level 10 as he reaches the top lane.
Yeah, as soon as that 13 is reached as well, it's going to give GUIGO a lot more power in these upcoming team fights. A bit concerned about him going down to the lane right there with obviously Tally nearby. We will see, by the way, that Rocket Belt picked up for Babip that we were talking about earlier. He is going down that path.
Ooh. Just waiting. Any chance that he can get.
Very
Maybe
scary.
now Vizicsacsi can go for this objective.
Yeah, they are going to look for this objective now, and part of the power of this Nidalee is going to be her ability to hit a spear onto someone like Titan or GUIGO, then use that Rocket Belt to close the distance and actually look for the follow-up kill. If you can execute someone or put them so low that they're irrelevant in the fight with this Nidalee, that's where the power is going to lie, and that becomes a lot more deadly later on. He's picked up 5 assists this game. Doesn't have a huge amount of hold that thought once again. We're going in.
Okay, that's going to be the charge blocked here from Aladoric. Very nicely done. He hops off the Scarl, but this is just way too many members of Peace that are around. Tally was going to Kingslay his way to the kill. And that was multiple members that did have to go up there, but it's still a solid kill to the side of Peace with no objectives on the map at this moment in time.
This is really frustrating for Red Canids, but it's not without warning, right? I mean, you know the enemy is around that part of the jungle. You know they're doing Rift Herald. You can't push up that far in the lane. There are consequences. You will get pushed down. And yes, Kled is one of the most survivable champions in a side lane like that, but there's just too many players on the Peace side. They're going to collapse in, and speaking of collapsing.
There we go. The exhaust, though, is immediately going to come down, but the CC might be enough to keep Aladoric around. The charm doesn't quite hit a lot of members here, as they're even struggling to take down the support. They finally get that done. Meanwhile, though, the top lane getting a lot of value there, as Shirley was getting into the inhibitor even. And so Aladoric will take that every day of the week.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be happy with that. Not able to quite kill the inhibitor, but sub 20 minutes. Everybody knows, you know, there's been that YouTube video going around talking about this. One of our LCS casters posted online about whether you should kill inhibitors pre-20 minutes or not. Getting one this early might actually end up being more of a detriment, but if we go back to this new Axe Effect replay here, I want to watch how this fight breaks down. The teleport comes through from GUIGO. He's able to get right over the wall there because he has his flash available. Likes to use both summoners every time he goes in like this, but the trap is here. This is one of the deadliest places you could run into a Kennen. It's a really nice deep ward there. He's able to teleport on to get that pick. The trade-off, of course, being that damage there on the top side of the map. But you're definitely happy as Red Canids to get a little bit more gold on the board here for GUIGO.
Been really liking Peace's vision control, and they're going to find another opportunity. Jojo just disappears off of the map. Seemingly had no idea they were there. There's no dragon up at this moment in time, so you might not expect that they're pushing in this hard for the vision, but they will get the knock-up as well onto Aegis, as he will have to flash to safety, and Peace are just chopping down bit by bit here. They get a kill, they get a flash here and there. Now they're going to get a mid-turret. They're keeping the ball rolling in a big way for the side of Peace.
And last game we had Titan explode into relevance so early. Even by this point of the game, it was so ahead. As we do have from Ant Phillips, today can only be described as absolutely mad. First best of 5, why not have a reverse sweep? Do I see another one in the making? Let's go Peace. Hey, it's not even a 2-0 just yet. Peace might be able to turn this into a 3-1, but I'd love to see a 5-game series, and we might be heading there. But as I was saying moments ago, Titan is not in a place this game where he can carry early. He does have that late game scaling that he can fall back on, but this is becoming so Peace dominant, this is becoming so difficult even for Titan to farm freely in the side lanes or farm in mid, that yes, you trade a tower on the top side of the map with Grevthar. Yes, you're trying to get value elsewhere while Peace has this vision control, but you're not really trading up until we get way later in the game, because Titan is not going to be able to fight these next objectives. This Mountain Drake that's coming up in 1 minute's time, you're not really quite online right now as Red Canids, especially because you don't have that teleport for GUIGO. You don't have that teleport flank. So fighting for vision as they are on the top side of the map is definitely a good way to approach it. They're grouping up and trying to remove a lot of vision, at least on this section of the map, trying to make this their stronghold as this Baron comes online.
Yeah, I mean, Red Canids get, once again, so many deep wards in that Baron side of the map, but we do have Mountain Drake coming up here in 30 seconds. They're not going to have a lot of vision around there, so...
I think they got to give that one up. I just don't think they're ready to fight this one just yet. Yeah, they have Divine Sunder and the Muramana, but this is not a 3-item Titan. This is a level 11 Titan, right? And we see an overextension, maybe you've got an opportunity. Aladoric.
He's just continuing on forward. The culling is going to blast Titan in the face here as the stun comes down, and the charm is good, but here comes Vizicsacsi, knocks 2 of them down with the Cataclysm, and now the cavalry has arrived. The stolen charge comes in, and a gigantic Everfrost catches 2 of them on the backside, slows them up enough to take them both down, and only Grevthar will live to tell the tale.
I mean, so many great dodges there from Aladoric. He was juking and jiving there against the Ezreal mystic shots coming through. And Titan and crew are like, okay, well, I think we could maybe take this fight. You know, we've got a Leona out in the open. They look for the fight, but this is not, again, a time where you could realistically fight against the scrappy comp that is Peace. They're so strong in the mid game. This is a team comp that has a Sylas, a Lucian, right? At this point in time, a Jarvan, who's very far ahead, who could easily collapse in and take that scrappy fight. If you don't have the ability to slicing Maelstrom and get high value, you're going to really struggle here. So I appreciate the idea. Okay, yes, he misses the Zenith Blade. You're kind of grouped up here, but look at where Kennen is right now. It's not a fight you want to realistically take, and they still commit. And look at the plays here from Jojo. It's all desperation, all trying to shut this fight down, trying to go, okay, I'm going to die so that you will live, and it's just not enough here. And this is, again, right before the Drake. And I think trying to find more objectives elsewhere, continuing to focus on the top side of the map, maybe grab that inner turret, would have been the better option here for Red Canids.
And that's the reaction. That's all we get. Just a huge smile on Vizicacsi's face. He's able to set up yet another one. It was more like an alley-oop for him, so it's obviously always a good feel as he just slam dunks them down. And yeah, I mean, this is looking really good for the side of Peace. How many times have we seen teams just go all in on a Leona and fail in the mid lane as well? Like, this has already happened multiple times at this tournament alone. It's a very common thing. You never want to go on that one, but they seemingly always do. As Vizicsacsi, he's so confident, but a lot of damage is coming out from GUIGO. It's gonna be close, but the flash comes in. And Vizicsacsi with the passive will smack down the little Kennen.
Yeah, not a fight you want to take as a Kennen here. Once again, expecting there to be a rotation faster, perhaps from Grevthar, but he's so far away. And these small mistakes, these small overextensions and miscalculations for Red Canids have really started to come back and bite them here. As this time, Red Canids do not have any vision whatsoever. Not just a lack of vision control, but no vision in Baron Pit. This is going to be so difficult to contest.
And Jojo, he's trying his best. He's going to get the Solar Flare out at least. Aegis, though, he's fighting to even get a view of this one, as now we get the engage, and immediately they all just get blown up. Vizicsacsi still in the pit, still going to keep the Baron leashed. And this one should be a clean Baron to the side of Peace. Titan is thinking about it. They still have some vision here. Let's see if, nope, not even going to be close. Titan can't do anything, has some vision, but Peace is going to take down the Baron at 24 minutes. They are dominating this game too.
Vizicsacsi having a great series here. Again, has been often the one focused, has been the one who's left out to dry for Peace when things go wrong in the group stage. Had a rough time, but he's really coming into his own here. First on the Rumble, now on this Jarvan. And it's a big return to form for the player who took such a long hiatus, came in here as an emergency sub here for Peace, which is one of the cool stories of them in this best of 5. And we're starting to see some of Red Canids crumbling around the late game, crumbling around decision-making, because part of the reason why they couldn't contest that Baron is because a Kled with no teleport was trying to push a side lane after that pick. And mistakes like that are going to cost you big.
Well, they're going to try to get this one in, as Violet is in a little bit of trouble, but he is going to dash away to safety. Grevthar doesn't quite have the damage, and they are forcing it so deep. As Vizicacsi's like, no, I'll just go the other way. Violet in a little bit of trouble, though. That's a big kick onto him, but still, the damage is not hitting this Lucian. It's still the low health bar, so it's the Q from downtown. He's just going to lock down that Lucian, but here's Tally going to try to go 1v4. Picked up that Kennen ultimate, and it is doing so much damage here. Grevthar left to die by his teammates. They could not help him. As with the Baron and the double kill on Tally, they will look to push for more.
It's just a desperate fight that Red Canids decided to take. They thought, hey, if we could win this fight, maybe we could turn the momentum back. Thought they had an angle there. They absolutely did not. And it's the turn from Tally with that second slicing Maelstrom that really is the icing on top of the cake, because when you are already winning a fight, then you can lock down the members who are trying to retreat. You're going to be guaranteed a lot of value here. With the damage in the team fight, as Titan is starting to come online, but that damage needs to be effective. It needs to be able to lead to kills. Eliminations are what you need. If you just hit the front line a lot and then back off, yes, your damage numbers are going to be good, but you need to get that effective damage and kill those damage dealers on the backside. If you front to back and get those kills first, if you can take out Vizicsacsi, then that number looks a lot better. It's not to be the case, not yet.
Yeah, definitely not yet. He does have a couple of items. We'll see what he can do as this game is coming along. Teton's case is now Tally is getting locked down here, and this is a lot of what this game has been. Just finding opportunities somewhere on the map. The Shirelias and the Charm does come in. There's the kick. Tally in a lot of pressure, but he gets a kill to start it off. Nobody seems to have the damage to get him. He already has Zhonya's as well, as the Cavalry once again coming on in. The 2v4 in big effect as Tally picks up another one and becomes godlike in this game.
Babip is on the angle.
And he's going to be... Take it over, Wolf. You got this.
It's the spear, gets the kill on Aegis. Uh-oh, but he might go down for it as well. Has to use that Zhonya's.
All right, let's see if they can catch up. That is going to be Titan in a lot of trouble. Has to flash the wall as he will not get away from the legendary Tally as the ace comes through. And they might just push for the win right now.
Vizicsacsi's trying to win the game by himself here on the top side. That inhibitor that stayed up for an extra 8 minutes finally does go down. And they are breaking into the base from two fronts. And this is already starting to be a great best of 5.
Now, just like this, Peace are right back in the game. They will take down the turrets, and they will take down the Nexus. We'll see if he just has anything to say about that. It doesn't look like it'll be much, just a bit of fun there at the end. Peace will be taking down game number 2 and tying up the series.
This Ezreal pick has been so pivotal for so many teams, but you could see the difference here between when you get an early lead, control the mid-game play around putting an Ezreal on the blue side of the map. You're red Ezreal and you're on the blue side of the map, threatening the jungle, threatening kills. It wasn't that game this time around. He was farming fine, he was getting those turret plays on the bottom side, but the